Back in the day, there was a beat 'em up that was said to be so difficult, many couldn't make it past the second level. Among those that couldn't make it, there were more elite gamers that rose to the challenge to combat the difficulty issue. I was one of those gamers. Not knowing what I had gotten myself into, I rose to the challenge, fighting my way to the top and eventually beating this game. It was never enough. The challenge had to be more difficult. I needed to achieve more, so I turned to Retroachievements to give me a deeper challenge and meaning. The streets filled with a challenge in itself beckoned me to go further than I had so long ago. The streets filled with the gangs that seemed to stun lock to no end leave many in frustration. The most challenging of this is to get to their leader and defeat him on the Streets of Rage.
Starting off, son of a... Actually, I meant to do that. Right off the bat, we call the police in for support and get the false alarm achievement for having no enemies on screen at the time. An homage to those that done this many times while starting out in this game. We get Street Vandal for destroying 6 breakables and get the promising Points of Rage for getting 10,000 points. Beating the level gets the Fighting in the Street and Hitting the Street achievements for not losing a life during that stage. We get Jab Specialist for hitting 20 consecutive jabs without getting hit, Bare Knuckle for defeating 50 enemies, Flying Kick for defeating 20 enemies with Adam's Kick, Dilapidated Town and Backstreet Brawler for beating stage 2 and without taking damage, and finally get Powerful Points of Rage for getting 100,000 points. For round 3, we stumble a little bit and almost don't get the achievements I want. This wrestler looking fellow likes to give me the stiff arm. Anyway, we get Moon Beach and Battle at the Beach achievements for not losing a life and beating the level. For round 4, we throw an enemy into a pit to get the Drop from the Rooftop achievement. I also get Weapons of Rage, likely for grabbing all weapons and having used them. This leaves me with the boss for this round. Tubby took me out and unfortunately caused me to not get an achievement due to it. However, I continue on, getting me the Crossing the Bridge achievement. In round 5, I get the Reinforcements achievement for picking up that extra special attack. Then the boss of the level. 2 bosses actually. A tag team of 2 women to take on. Claiming victory gets me the Boating Beatdown and Across the Sea achievements. As a bonus, since I passed 300,000 points, I get the Professional Streets of Rage achievement. In round 6, if you force a punk to stand underneath a press, you get the Punk Pancake achievement. I love pancakes. I also get the Second Chances achievement for picking up all the extra lives in the game. For going up against the 2 bosses at the end and beating the level without losing a life, I get the Stealthy Steps and Factory Fight achievements. In this round, we're on an elevator, so throw someone off and get the Going Down achievement. After taking a beating and a whip, I lose a life. And this guy here has to throw me off to rub it in. So yeah, I wasn't happy about that. Anyway, I finish the round and get the Elevator Action achievement. This last area, we get the Table Phobic achievement for hitting 8 tables. I also reach the 500,000 point mark, which gets me the Perfect Points of Rage achievement. That leaves the 2 women, which cost me 2 lives, a life for each opponent. Then Mr. X himself. Not too hard with Adam, but the problem is, it's hard to coordinate between them and attacking Mr. X. For beating the game, I get the Save the City and Up and Atom achievements. Now with Axel, I need to attack with the backhand 40 times. I also need to attack with the jumping knee attack 40 times. During this time, I get the Not This Time achievement by throwing someone that grabbed me from behind. I get the back fist and flying knee after performing them the necessary amount of times, and I finally get the Don't Need the Police achievement for not using the special at all. Nothing special was achieved or happened for a while. Since I played through it before, I was able to get most of the achievements there. So we fast forward to round 8 to fight Mr. X. Note that I was playing on hard at the time. Unfortunately, Axel's flying knee does nothing to help. Neither do these extra enemies. I end up losing many lives and a few continues. I beat him anyway and get the achievement Trailing Axel. With Blaze, we need to perform 20 backdrops and 20 throws. For performing 20 backdrops, I get the Uranagi achievement. For performing 20 throws, I get the Tomonagi achievement. So we are back in round 4, and there is something of significance. The boss of this level is a pain with others, and we didn't beat it without losing a life. However, This time I was able to beat the boss just barely to get the Keep the Groovin' achievement. Back again at Mr. X, this time with Blaze. It goes okay. Mr. X is always a pain because of the enemies around him. Anyway, I managed to beat him and get the last achievement for this stream, which is Blaze of Glory. I start to go around and get the other achievements that I didn't get before. I need 9 lives and to beat levels without losing a life. While getting lives, I make it to round 5 on the boat. It is here that I get the achievement, Beat Nick on the Ship. In round 6, I finally get the 9 lives I was looking for, giving me the Streets of Cats achievement. With those few out of the way, I go on to the hardest difficulty using Blaze. The first round is easy enough. I get the Beating Boomer achievement. I had some slight difficulty with the round 2 boss, but not much. I get Zapping Zamza Part 1 for beating this round. The round 3 boss came pretty easily. He did almost hit me, so I used the special to make sure I took care of him and the enemy. Beating him gets me the Annihilating Abaddon achievement. Big Ben of round 4 was really tricky. The extra enemy would always give me problems. I didn't want to lose any lives, and I was barely able to make this work. Beating round 4 gets me the End of Big Ben achievement. In round 5, on the boat, I can't use any specials for this specific achievement. It is a headache to say the least. You can lose lives though. Not what I really wanted, but it had to be done so I could get through this. There are a ton of enemies in this round. They kind of just swarm you. If you're doing well with a group, there is another group on the other side trying to attack you. Near the middle, there are a bunch of clown-like enemies that throw axes at you as well, a group from each side. Taking them out is a bit of a struggle as they're always jumping around. These are the moments that are the struggle. I do make it to the boss and it goes pretty well, except that I'm losing out on time. Before I'm able to get to the boss, my time runs out. Interesting. I continue to the rest of the fight and defeat the boss, which gets me the Terrorizing the Twins achievement. At the boss of round 6, I go to try and grab an enemy and he knocks me down, so the use of a special is nice. In fact, you can take 2 of those, just in case I end up losing a life, which I did, so now they can take a 3rd special. Still not being defeated, I carefully try to approach them and take out the remainder of their life. I do so without losing a life. This gets me the Zapping Zamza Part 2 achievement. In round 7 I still need to not lose a life. I was doing okay and on the edge of life when an enemy with a knife came up to me. Lovely. So back at the final round, round 8, I make it all the way to Mr. X and he gives me the biggest headache. More so the enemies surrounding him, but it's still a struggle either way. Mr. X smacks me a lot and the enemies are always in the way. Managing this is the biggest pain. I do eventually defeat Mr. X and get the Mr. Exterminated achievement. All that is left is getting the achievements that remain. No loss of life on round 7, round 8, and no loss of life on Mr. X himself. Then beating the game on hardest without using a continue. I had used level select to jump back into round 7. After a few times I was able to get through this round without losing a life. This gets me the Violent Breathing achievement. I had used the remainder of my time trying to get the next achievements. Round 8 without losing a life, and defeating Mr. X without losing a life. Neither were successful, so I decided to leave it at that. Until the next stream. The 3 that remain: defeat Mr. X without losing a life, beat round 8 without losing a life, and beating the game on hardest without using a continue. I started off trying to get round 8 beaten without losing a life. I wasn't able to do that, so I decided to practice Mr. X. In doing so, I got the I Expected More achievement. I've been getting a lot of practice at this point. Most of the enemies were pretty easy. The bosses that come along aren't that hard. The rundown is this. Play grabby with most of the bosses. All of them can be locked in easily, except Big Ben. There is a strat for this though. After defeating the final enemy before Big Ben shows up, grab the powder close by. That's right, don't pick it up beforehand and use it. Now quickly go to your left after grabbing it. Make sure you're a good distance away, then throw it with timing. Now he is stunned briefly. This gives Adam enough time to grab him. Now all that you have to do is repeat that grab. Next are the women that you have to fight. Thanks to a viewer by the name of Scars, there is a good way to deal with them. Go up to each one at an angle. When they jump, make sure to avoid them. Go around them and you should be able to grab them. Either hit them a few times then throw, or whatever you have time to do. Repeat and done. Finally, it's back to Mr. X.
Say hello to my little friend!
The strat is simple enough without him. Grab him, hit him 2 times, then use the backdrop. Now just jump kick him and hope the enemies don't hit you. I was pretty nervous at the time because I could only take a single hit, but it was done. I got the achievement, The Last Soul.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
The rest of the stream was uneventful. I tried making it to the end without losing a continue. One time I was doing good with a few lives at the end, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get the achievement, mainly due to those damn enemies. This final achievement took the entirety of stream to finish. That's usually about 3 hours. I went over by 30 minutes. Over the course of 3 playthroughs and 1 small start, I figured out how to play the other levels well. I started with Blaze. I made it all the way to round 8 with 5 lives. At this point, I think I may be able to do this. At the Wrestler, I get a life taken away from me, but I do gain 1 back. However, near the end before I fight the women, I get kicked to death and lose another life. The ladies take a life away from me, but I now have 3 to deal with Mr. X. Unfortunately, that run didn't pan out, so I begin another with Adam. I make it to the ladies with 5 lives this time as him. It becomes a long fight. I lose 1, 2, 3 lives. It sucks, but you'd think that would be more than enough with the 2 lives I have. I misjudge an attack and get down a life. However, I end up jumping too late and, well, damn. So my final run for the day consisted of Adam again. I took my time with the levels and got better with bosses. I made it all the way back to the women. I now have 8 lives and my famous last words. Okay, ladies, let's see what you got. Oh. Dude, you were right on me. I didn't know whether to go left or right. And you were. What the hell? All my freaking lives, you kidding me? 5 lives down from 8, and now it is time for Mr. X again. Not cool, but doable. Again. I get punched by enemies, hit by the butt of the weapon, but with the power of the kick, Mr. X is finally finished. A beat 'em up can be rough for achievements, but it does challenge your skill. When I mastered this game, I felt that rush of success. The achievements aren't really all that hard, at least most of them aren't. The few that push you are really cool. The set is pretty complete in my opinion, and adds replay value. It's kind of hard not to recommend the game. If you enjoyed this video, please sub, share, like, and leave a comment. Do you have a suggestion for a game you'd like me to try and master? Let me know. I stream Retro Achievements live on Twitch, so shoot me a follow.